Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
The kind of ridicule that they are getting.
No. I think the advantage that NUP has is that this party is built around the personality of their leader. People can be thrown out and others tap into his popularity. We had that debate in the FDC. My disagreement with colleagues who supported Dr. Besigye, because I kept telling them when I was chairman for General Muntu's campaign that we need to build an institution, because an institution will outlive us. And I gave them examples of companies like MTN, Airtel, whose managers we don't even know, but we know those brands. But there are those who kept saying, who are you to talk about Besigye? Say, you have no discipline. Eventually, when you build an institution around a person, the day that person leaves, that institution will cease to exist.
Maybe that's why you don't have a presidential candidate.
That's what will happen with the NRM. The day Museveni leaves, there will be no NRM.
Yeah, but
I can assure you.
PFF is also built on Besigye.
It is not. That's why Besigye has been in jail. Even when we've been launching this party, Besigye has been away. We can tap into, we can draw inspiration from him. But you have seen even for the last 8 months, Besigye is in jail. But we are running that party, and we'll continue building it as an institution. I'm not saying PFF is perfect. I'm only calling all colleagues. When we are building these parties, we should struggle to build institutions that will outlive us. So they are not in a crisis, as you have said. As long as Kyagulanyi remains popular, that party will remain. They will only be affected when Kyagulanyi begins ruling popularity, which is a natural consequences. So they can afford to throw away people and others may win, but you continue struggling and you'll never discover in an institution that you are making mistakes until they begin wearing.
Honorable Ssemujju, again I find it odd that you're vouching for people the party has rejected. Take them on, let the party...
No, I am not vouching for anyone, but I have told you when the NRM, and I found, even when I was in the media, the opposition has a tendency of being forceful when you criticize them. We faced that when you're in the media. So you can criticize NRM every day, 24 hours. The day you begin criticizing opposition, you have been bought, you have been doing, even before NOPO was born. We faced that with FDC, with DP, with everybody. So I think the same way we criticize NRM, it's the same way we should criticize ourselves. So if the PFF have made a mistake, I don't want to pick issues when Nabagabe tells me you've made a mistake, even publicly. And I've told you, for me, in all this, whether it is party primaries like the one of NRM being conducted in darkness, whether it is selection or appointment, as the Honorable Mbide said, if they had appointed a quality person, I will keep quiet, because for me, that's what I care. I care most. I will know the process but they have brought me a person who can add value. I am in Parliament. She is there.
You're paying over just one person. There have been 24 incumbents who were dropped.
I have said there is an MP they have dropped. I don't want to celebrate him being dropped. But even when the speaker, the only time the speaker chose him to speak, he didn't. He was looking at his shoulders. They have dropped that person. I will not say his name here. Those ones should never have come to Parliament at all. Because you see, there is being popular, but also there is work to do in the Parliament. You sit in a committee and you see the other day and they have told him they have brought him back. Warus work. We are handling
the one of these people you haven't mentioned. That was you mentioned. Why? You mentioned the one of these people.
You can help me to mention theirs.
You have mentioned that was Warus worker. Why don't you mention for these people? if you are genuine.
I don't remember the bill that we were handling, but it had something to do with the security exchange. And he said, where's the Minister of Security here? He had to be told this thing has nothing to do with the security. So they are level of knowledge. I have spoken about another MP this time. I will spare his name. Even when you are on committee work, you will ask Robert Mugade from... so you have to put him aside, that before you say anything, first tell us. because you're embarrassing everybody. So we are in Hoima, Committee of National Economy. So he said, please first tell us.
So he has to do rehearsals before, before getting to the microphone.
So it's an embarrassment.
There is another legislator you talked about on a certain radio station while you were doing your media career, how grossly embarrassing he was and how lousy he was for an MP.
No, I have
Is that the crop?
I have told the colleagues, and I've said this many times, if you ask Juliet Kaketo, she was a reporter at Bukede. In Uganda here, we had the worst MPs in the 6th and 7th parliament. Olango had the best, followed by Acholi and Ankoli and so on and so forth. So each time we wanted to refresh, if you have a Uganda MP on the floor, then you go to refresh. If you want to susu, you go. Because they were fake. And you can't put them in your notebook as a journalist. So if you want to susu, you say, who was the Asanasi Yokaizi, then you go and ease yourself and return.
Actually, let me just give you some little information. When I graduated with Bachelor of Mass Communication, I failed to do journalism because I did not know which people I would ask questions whose answers I didn't know. The politicians of the day really could not give you the answers to any questions.
So is NUP now sinking the caliber of
No, I
politics?
mean, the Nambooze are there. They have a duty. And all of us...
how about Geoffrey Rutai? Better?
All of us have the same duty. And I have said this many times with Ofono Pondo here, he's not in my party, that he will be a very addition to parliament.
Yes.
Because I look at the country. So which sort of leaders... in my campaigns, I keep telling people in Ichira, you can't be the same people looking for the best doctor, the best teacher, including sports, which is just for entertainment. You're looking for the best players. When it comes to people making decisions affecting your life, you bring in Abanja, who is serving and quarreling over meat and rice, and she's coordinating government business. So we have a duty to our country to bring the very best.
You will hold it. Dr. Roy, like Honorable Semoju says, NUP seems to be suffering from the strong man syndrome. Do you see the hand of the principal in failing you? Or in failing to reign over the flawed process?
Listen.
How can you answer that when Segona couldn't answer it?
No, Simon, before I get there, I wanted to say something. Because you kept on accusing us who are running as independent as being indisciplined. I don't think that's being indisciplined. In 2017, I think that's the first time I worked with Honorable Chagulanyi politically. We saw the DP card and the FDC card and they refused. And he ran as an independent. I can tell you if that was an indiscipline that he was supposed to step down, there would be no NUP by now. But because there are people who are very loyal
NUP had not been formed.
But it's a process. From the Chaddondo by-election and the politics of the day, that's how one thing leading to another up to where we are now. I think we should find a way of addressing dissent. Not necessarily that if you disagree with someone, you are indisciplined and the whip should be cracked. But also agree with the Honorable Flavia when she says that NUP is in this position because of NRM. I subscribe to that school of thought.
So keep him there.
Always refuting it. But that's a fact. They have weakened each and every opposition party. They are not allowing anyone to exercise. People cannot express freely, associate freely, or assemble freely in this country. Honorable Semoju is making a valid point. He's arguing that they are bringing half-baked individuals. That's for a fact. Ideally, political parties.
Is it NRM that has brought in Nyanza against you?
Listen. Political parties' idea, they should be institutions to breed leaders for the country. In Uganda, it cannot happen because once other opposition parties become stronger, they challenge them. So what do? Through their agents, they frustrate them. We attempted to register People Power Party. And then through their agent, Baram, they say that the name was booked out for an NGO to take care of old people. We don't know what happened then. We tried to register another one. We are frustrated on ground. RDCs and whatever they are on ground. Then later on, we devised the means and acquired a political party that had those clauses that are bringing a challenge to this selection process. What I need to say that much as we are in this situation, we who are managing this situation, we need to be better. That's a message I'm sending to my colleague here, that we need to be better. And a moment, we need to be better. the process that is being managed at NUP, it should be different on how NRM should be. And you see, when you sit here and you are sanitizing something and you see OO backing you up, you should be worried. These are the people we are trying to get out of power, and they are saying, what you're doing is okay.
OO is preaching political correctness.
No, what OO is doing, the NRM is comfortable in the mess that NUP is getting into. Now, for us who are in NUP, for us who believe in a better country, we need to be very careful when you're managing processes like this one. I can tell you, the candidate I was competing against was on rampage. And this is why I said I will not petition. The man is arm twisting everyone. Everyone in the party is using, is leveraging his leveraging.
Who's that man?
He's leveraging the relationship he has with the brother and the friends around him to advance his agendas. That's why I chose to come as an independent, by the way.
Okay, then.
But
Dr. Semboga,
listen.
Dr. Semboga, how disturbing is the mutiness of the principal when all this mischief is happening?
But listen,
Simon,
he's not mute.
Simon, do I assume
Listen.
that the viewers, not the candidate who he's referring to? You just assume?
Are you comfortable telling us the man who is twisting everything?
No. Listen, Simon. I think that is really immaterial.
No, it is. It is.
How?
Look,
we have viewers who are just
People may think
tuning
it's
in.
me. Who's I'm twisting you?
No, you did participate in the NUP party primaries, but
Why are you shy to mention the name of the
Simon,
person that you're saying?
Simon, listen.
You cannot mention the person.
There are more compelling issues than just discussing the two personalities.
You lose
and
nothing
I would rather we focus.
Is it Nyanzi?
I would rather we focus on the matters that are taking the country forward. Look, and that's for me, this is why I'm concerned and I'm disturbed by the submissions of my colleague Flavia. As we speak right now, a young man has left his home. He's on a campaign trail, facing police brutality. And there are people within our party twisting and changing things to their own benefit. There are the people who are putting us in this mess.
No.
Now, Simon is accusing.
You won't get out of this.
Simon is
Just
accusing.
mention the name of the person and then we move on.
Listen, Simon is accusing the party president, who is on a campaign trail, trying to spread the popular message because his brother twisted the process. I think that is not fair. And for us within the ranks of the party, if we really want to take this country forward.
Are you uncomfortable mentioning the name of the person who is twisting the process?
Do you know him?
Simon,
No, I don't.
Simon.
No, hold on. Please, tell us the name of the person.
Simon, as a host and a journalist, you have a duty. If you can't mention, why don't you mention him?
No. Why is he shy to mention the person
He
he's
doesn't have
competing
one.
with?
He thinks he can take on NRM when he can't mention the name of an individual. In your party.
No. Oh, you're not intimidating me and corner me to playing it your games. Listen, the reason I don't mention the name is because I don't want to focus this debate on two individuals. I want to advance the
Okay,
principle.
Nyanzi.
Simon, I think you are being petty. You are really being.
Mention the name of Nyanzi.
You are really being petty.
How can you fear mentioning that it is a Nyanzi, the brother of Bobby Wine? Is he messing you up? Why don't you say so?
But
it is funny
so
how
you have said it. So
I'm asking,
when he repeats it,
it is really
sounded different.
it is really funny how the last 2 minutes we are focused on me mentioning the name Nyanzi than understanding
We can now
what
move
is
on.
what is
No,
what is
can
what
move
is
on. We can move on now.
than
We
understanding
can move on.
what is at stake.
We wanted to
What
pick
is
it from your mouth.
listen, what is at stake
Because
is that
this is a
NRM.
line for shooting.
Listen.
So if you don't shoot properly,
I didn't
you
come
may
here to
not
shoot.
belong to this
I didn't come here
rank.
to shoot. And Simon, I'm losing valuable time to make a very important statement. You see, you must have a problem with how the NRM and the state are weakening our political parties, because that is how you end up with half-baked members of parliament. I hear Semuju's cry when he says that member of parliament used to corner them to tell them what to say. If they let NUP to exercise to its full potential, leadership school would be operating, perhaps Walukaga and whoever you think is not up to standard, they would be going through training. Serious political parties along the world are doing this because there is goodwill. That's why the debates in other countries are very different from the debates we're having here. Most of our people, voters are not our view, they vote for the best dancer, not who's articulating things better. So I would think,
does your friend, Honorable Chagulanyi, have a hand in the current predicament the party is facing?
Simon, I keep on telling you when we meet,
Simon,
I would not let my ears witness what my eyes didn't see.
Okay, does his muteness disturb you?
What do you mean? What do you mean he's mute? He has put a petition. He has put a petition tribunal, and he's saying everyone is going there. Good. For me, I said I am going to save the party of the burden of going into another arm twist by the same person. You want me to mention
thank you. As we cross to Kawempe South as an independent, Honorable Fred Mukasambide, MP aspirant for Buwekula. Good to have you. Our frontliner, Honorable to be, maybe Honorable already, Ofono Opondo, the NRM flag bearer for older persons from the Eastern region. Honorable Flavia Nabagabe Kalule, head Women's League in the NUP, in the National Interplatform, and woman member of Parliament for Kasanda. Plus, our frontliner, Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, who doubles as Chief of Staff in the PFF, also a member of Parliament for Kira Municipality. Before I engage my guests, I would like to bring in Honorable Emmanuel Dombo Lumala to give us a feel of their campaigns. They have been up north. Honorable Dombo, nice to have you. I saw quite huge crowds clad in new T-shirts. Does it suggest that NRM is busy with some bonanza, distributing T-shirts and attracting crowds? Honorable Dombo, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Bwana Simon. How are you and how are our listeners?
Wonderful, good to see you. Your president and party chairman is on his leg in northern Uganda. I saw huge crowds with new T-shirts. Does it suggest that NRM is distributing T-shirts and ferrying crowds?
Ferrying crowds from where? Because we're in northern Uganda. Have we ferried any people from across the border? Because NRM is the party which is in power. We have the structures of our administrators. The candidate is moving from district to district. You know how expansive the districts of northern Uganda are. And all these districts have leaders like chairpersons, they have members of parliament, they have district councillors, they have other leaders who can work together with the party members to enable people to travel. You cannot make people who are coming for a rally from one sub-county to another, a sub-county which is almost 15 kilometers, and you expect people to move on their feet. That will be very inhuman, and it will be inconsiderate of those individuals who are in those places. We have not ferried anybody from outside their districts, but the local leaders have facilitated their members from their respective sub-counties to come to the venues of the rallies, and the people remain there. For us, we are not like other candidates whom you literally see moving and shifting crowds from one district, one town to another. For us, we go, our candidate moves and meets the people from the respective districts in compliance with the elections regulations and laws and the public order management as guided by the Electoral Commission and by the police. So we're here and we're enjoying it. You know, last time, Simon, when we did not do major rallies and we had the meetings with the party leaders because of COVID, some people accused the NRM and President Museveni, saying that we used the advantage of COVID and avoided to go for public rallies. Yet COVID really disadvantaged us as a people because we wanted to go for massive rallies so that we can show our strength and how people love the NRM. Now that COVID is not there, we have chosen to go and do exactly what we should have done in the previous elections and do it even much better now that people are aware about the falsehoods that many people come up showing. So we're enjoying. We started with the Lango sub-region. We are continuing. We shall have a break off for about 2 days over the weekend, and then we come back and continue.
Well. You think, would you promise the people of Otuke and the entire northern Uganda, in the midst of the poverty and the land question that remains unresolved?
When you look at northern Uganda, the theme of our manifesto and this campaign is protecting the gains. And before the beginning of every rally, there is a demonstration of the gains that people enjoy themselves. Some of the people don't know that when there was insecurity in northern Uganda, President Museveni shifted his home from Kampala and he came in Balalege. He camped in the north to ensure that he defeats all the insurgents that had come. He came and fought Kony. He came and fought Lakwena. He came and fought internal insecurity. Right now, he has been asking the Baralo, who were accused of either land grabbing or using unorthodox means and grazing people's lands, to ensure he creates peace and stability. That is something fundamental that happened in northern Uganda. At one time when I was member of parliament, I visited northern Uganda with the Right Honorable Sekandi when he was speaker. And most people were in camps. Now people, and during that time the opposition thrived because NRM was being accused that people are going to be like in camps and NRM and HCA leaders were going to grab land while the people were in the camps. Right now, people have gone back to their land. They are cultivating it, and their lives are changing. If you came to northern Uganda, specifically to Lira district, this is the biggest hub of produce buying in the country. It has some of the biggest silos. And the people who are producing this are Ugandans, and they also provide labor in the number of factories that are emerging. Secondly, the people themselves have the issues that they want. Every place where we go, the chairman of NRM comes out specifically to produce a petition or a memorandum for the people on behalf of the people. And they clarify where they want a hospital upgraded from Health Center 3 or Health Center 4 to a regional hospital, where they want a regional hospital to become a regional referral, a national referral, where they want a Tamakaro to be constructed, where they want extension of electricity. You know, NRM does not lie. At times we promise things and they are not done because the priorities differ. The resource envelope at times shrinks because of the emerging issues and at times because of corruption. All these are challenges which will honestly raise the population, and the population has been happy. It has come to trust NRM. It has tested President Museveni, and they have built a trust. Now, because of that trust and the historical ability to look after the Ugandans, they believe there is not any other person like him, for now, who can provide leadership other than President Yoweri Museveni.
Much Honorable Dombo, and we'll certainly be touching base with you on a number of issues and in our subsequent interviews. A very good evening. I'll get straight to the crux of our discussion today. Dr. Roy, how indisciplined do you come off when you protest the outcome of a process where you subjected yourself, and as one of the key founders of the party, you would be expected to uphold the decision of the Elections Management Committee?
The reason as to why some of us join political parties or political entities and establishment is because of a cause, a genuine cause. So if that cause in any way seem to be challenged, I have a duty and responsibility to go against that cause in particular. Look, yesterday, a group of about 22 chairpersons, they were at my place. They came with a written petition, 20 chairpersons from a constituency, and a couple of their members. And they had also mobilized money, 17.5 million shillings, arguing that I should continue and run. So for me, in my opinion, I think it is not an issue of being indisciplined, it's an issue of being principled. I understand where my party is, I understand the challenges that my party is facing, particularly in this point in time.
I want to take you back to what you said. Do you want to suggest that NUP has derailed from the original objective?
No, I see, NUP is broad. NUP is big. There are so many players in NUP. So for me, I want to suggest that there are individuals within NUP that are derailing it from the cause of the people. You see, originally, NUP manifests from being a people power movement, and I think it's within our DNA that should respect the ideas of people, the feelings of people that we represent. We want to believe that power should come from the people. Now, if you go through a process and the same people that we want to represent are against what the party has said or decided, then I think as an individual who still believes in the people ideology, I have to go back to the people that I really represent.
Did you believe in the process in the first instance?
I believe that the process will do the right thing.
Did you believe in the process?
I believe that the process will do the right thing.
Did you believe in the process?
Simon, you want a direct answer, yes or no. If I say I believe that the process will do the right thing, you see, a process is not a yes or no thing. A process, like you say a process, it is something you go through from here to here. By the time we started from here, the process was good. Along the way, interest came in. So for us, those interests are the reason that there are the things that we are trying to challenge at the moment. So the process is good. And you see, Simon, when you talk about the process, maybe we also need to question why it's a different process from what other parties are really having. I don't think that as NUP, as Semboga would be in this predicament if we are able to do our own primaries, if people were able to elect their own people. We need to educate the country, really, why NUP is in such a predicament. NUP is here because there is no political goodwill from other actors, mostly the state that we are competing with, to allow it to exercise its activities as it should be.
I understand that point, but you're a founding member of the National Unity Platform.
Yeah.
In 2020, you were denied the ticket under shady circumstances. Is it the same scenario that has come back to haunt you?
No. The circumstances are different. The candidates are different and the players are different. In 2020, like you said, I was still on administration of the NUP party. We had received credible information by all of us about Kaziwe Bashir. But the people then who were running the process, they thought that the intelligence, the popularity, they had no time to educate the masses. People was demanding for Kaziwe Bashir. They had no time to educate the masses about the intelligence I received about him. But for me, from my principles that I believe in, I felt that Kaziwe Bashir wasn't the right candidate. That's why I came here. Now, this time around, the circumstances are very different from what we had previously. This time around, one, I am running against one of the historicals of the party, if I may use that word. And then secondly, a person who hails from a different constituency. Now, I am challenged in between two positions. There are people here from the constituency that I seek to represent that are pushing and pulling. They are saying, we want your representation. And their reasons are valid. They are saying, for the last 10 years, all people who have been coming to represent us here, they are not members of the society.
Yeah, but EMC found you inadequate. They went to the ground and they even subjected you to an interview and they found you inadequate. They found Nyanzi more competent. Why don't you take it in?
I think that's why I'm here to tell the public that I do not agree with what the EMC found. Like I said, the process we use in NUP is subject to manipulation. And I am really disappointed in colleagues who perhaps use their positions within the ranks of the party, who use their relationship with the leadership of the party to twist the results. That is where my fundamental disappointment is.
Yeah, but the simple solution would be going to appeal. There is an appeals tribunal.
I am not disappointed with the party per se. I am disappointed with individuals who have twisted the process to bring results that not only hurt me but also hurt other individuals. Simon, it is also important to highlight to the public that it wouldn't be here if NUP was organizing its own primaries.
Yeah, but
if we were allowed to organize primaries like any other party, like how the NRM do it.
Before I shift to another speaker, what is your position now in the party? Are you a renegade?
By the party constitution, once you choose to run as an independent, you cease to be a member. So by the party constitution, I am no longer a member. The moment I pick nomination forms, I will cease to be a member. But you see, membership is not about what the constitution says. Belonging to a political party, it is a conscience. It is a belief that you are doing the right thing. So for me, I am loyal to the ideals of the party. And doesn't matter. There are party card-holding members who do contrary to what the party believes in. And there are those who are bystanders, maybe like yourself, who do believe in the same ideas like people power, that power belongs to the people.
Well, Honorable Flavia, do you agree there is a looming crisis in the party as historicals quit to stand as independents?
No, I don't agree. I actually don't think there is any crisis in NUP at the moment. Well, there is a difference in opinion, there is a difference in experiences, there are dissenting voices, but I don't call that a crisis. Because any normal organization that is growing, that is maturing, that is fully functional, always has those dissenting, voices and differing opinion. I actually want to start off from a point of strength for the National Unity Party. The fact that we have been able to organize and vet candidates across the country is one of the strengths this party has. Being young as it is, we are able to get very many candidates that wanted to contest under the flag. You are talking from a vantage point. Not even just talking from a vantage point, I'm talking objectively, because anyone who sees it, and even you, Simon, know it, that based on how we started and where we are now, you saw how many people flooded our party because of the interest and the trust they have in the party to become our flag bearers. That's a bonus, that's a plus for us. I also want to speak about the vetting process. I as well went through the EMC. I was vetted. I was asked questions. I was never sure that I would get that card because I had someone contesting against me in my constituency. But we have a number of leaders that were also being contested against. I sit on the executive board. The executive board in Article 6 is given the mandate to delegate, appoint an electoral management committee and delegate the duties of choosing party flag bearers. Now, we don't influence that because we can't know who is going to be chosen. What we know and what we always uphold and demand for is that the EMC is fair, treats all candidates the same way, asks questions, similar questions or different questions. I don't know, they ask whichever questions they want to ask the candidates, but at the end of the day, we want to have a credible process that gives us the best candidates.
Are you cognizant,
now, the fact
cognizant of the issues that were being raised by the disgruntled members who were denied party tickets on flimsy grounds?
Well, you may call it a flimsy ground if you're just looking at it, but it may not be flimsy to the person who is complaining, because it may be a very ardent issue that needs to be addressed. But for me, what I credit our party for is that we put up an appeal process. We provided the space for people to go and appeal, to go and explain their situations, to go and complain. And it's from that process that we shall know whether their complaints were credible or not. Of course, being that the people that are complaining, and some of them are saying that the people that were given flags to are either weak or non-deserving, or, you know, they don't have the ground, or unpopular, or whichever. Now, for me, I would call that a point of bias, because, Simon, even if it's I who saw my opponent being given a card, I would definitely contest that if I wanted to pursue it. But if I am building the party systems and structures, and I have been working for the greater good and the greater picture of this country, because the bigger picture is not about these party cards. The bigger picture is about what we want to, how we want to deliver Uganda, and where we want to go.
I want you to look at it
focus.
this way. People who have made a tremendous contribution to the founding of the party to where it is now are disagreeing with the entire process and choosing to go independent. Isn't this spelling doom for the party?
There is no doom that is being spelled, because first of all, people power was not, it wasn't started by one person or two people or three people who are complaining or who are disgruntled. No. People power is actually people power, the way you hear it. And that's still our compass and our DNA as in UP. We are still on people power. But so if you have a few voices, and I am not saying let them go, but everyone has their right to whatever opinion they want. Simon, if I disagree with you today, and you subjected yourself to a process that you knew was in the Constitution, and that's how the structure and the process was going to be, if you subjected yourself to that process in the first place, why are you challenging that process? Because it hasn't given you the results you are waiting for.
Because it turned out to be fraudulent.
If it was fraudulent, then there is an appeal process. Go and appeal. What do you mean a case of Machindi?
Machindi West. You have Zahara Ruirika, who was standing in Kampala, who was vetted for Kampala, but she was now posted to Machindi West.
Simon, not being in the know of the processes of the vetting committee doesn't make the processes fraudulent. The EMC came out to explain it clearly, and it's indicated even in our constitution that any member who is contesting any candidate who wants to run as flag bearer for NUP, until after vetting, they are free to choose whichever constituency they want to run into. And Zahara Ruirika, in appeal, put in a process, put in an expression of interest for Machindi West. And even our records are very clear on that. We have had a number of harmonization processes. Some you knew, some you didn't know. It's very good that you knew for the Kampala woman MP seat. Are you privy to what the discussions that were in that process? Probably that's where even that idea came from. But most of you don't know about that. But our records show that within the harmonization processes, some were led by different leaders, some were done by candidates themselves, and they would be the ones to front their flag bearers. Okay,
before I move on to another speaker.
Zahara is not in any way special in the party. Zahara opted to move to Machindi West, according to our records of the vetting process, and she was vetted about that.
The party leadership sounds indifferent to the discontent of the members. Are you simply playing aloof and saying, even if they left, we still have people power?
No. We can't say we are playing aloof, Simon, when we have clearly put up a committee that is listening and taking in all the complaints. That wouldn't stand for aloofness. That means that we have actually provided the space And you're running ahead of the processes because they were still appealing up to yesterday. So we are waiting for the results. If we were being aloof, then we wouldn't even have bothered to put up any committees, wouldn't have bothered to open up the gates and say whoever has a complaint, whoever has an appeal, whoever has any issues, please walk into those gates and do. But the fact that, that we have a number of people that are moving into our gates, because of that, just shows the strength of our democratic processes that we have as a party.
Honorable Mbide, there is a video of you trending where you were making a good laugh about the entire process and the outcome. Do you find it funny, really?
Yeah. Dr. Roy is choosing to be academic over a matter that is glaringly understandable by all and sundry. And NUP is the only party whose candidate selection never involved the people. It was actually conducted akin to an examination. And everybody was waiting for results in a manner that is the equivalent of those waiting for A-level examination results. Nobody knew what was coming, basing on anything. Because if it was about basing on popularity, then they would have known, obviously, who would have won party tickets. So what Honorable Flavia is doing is you are laughing your way to autocracy. Of course, for the time being, it benefits you, but you are evolving something that is going to be, under factors and combinations, you may not be in position to penetrate it at a time. You cannot explain to the whole public, for example, the basis for which tickets were awarded in terms of the people. Nobody knew, no voter knew how they arrived at any result. It is impossible, in fact, which is...
Maybe their strength is in the mystery.
Obviously, they obfuscated the whole procedure, but it is clear. It was a vetting process. It has nothing to do with the primary election. It did not involve the people. Nobody is aware of the sampling process. Nobody is aware of the... Because when you look at Honorable Segona, for example, and the winner, then one would wonder, what was the question? What were the questions? What was the line of questioning? What was the competency of
popularity?
No, it was probably, when you find the winner, because popularity had nothing to do with appearance before a panel. It would have had everything to do with a quizzing procedure within the population, where you would even arrive at samples where all candidates are agreeable that these are the appropriate samples. To me, it looks like Honorable Segona was immediately, when he arrived, he was given a guitar and directed to perform an a cappella, which he failed, and the winner definitely carried the ticket. So for me...
I think you're bastardizing the whole thing.
That's what it is.
That's pretty
Simon, I would want anybody to give me anything to the contrary, and I would retract my statements. I want to find anything legislative that I find with the winner of that ticket, vis-a-vis what definitely Honorable Segona is all about. Article 80 obviously also contemplates procedures of this nature of the Constitution. When it gives it sets the bar so low for a member of Parliament. You only need to be a citizen. You only need to have senior 6 or anything that looks like that. It does not matter which kind of attainment you did. Others attained the Taikonde, and so they all can now find themselves in Parliament. To the extent then that the population now has nothing to receive from our Parliament. Because even when you find, for example, the oversight role of Parliament cannot be conducted by a fellow like that one, for example. What can he do in terms of oversight?
Sebufu? Rather, Walukaga?
Yes, because which kind of oversight? If, for example, ombudsman, if watchdogs have resurrected a procedure that unearths a corruption tendency, he's just going to join the bandwagon of those that follow scandalous procedures than preventive legislation, because he's not aware. So for me, I know now the workload that Honorable Semju has in Parliament, he's going to get tired. They all now develop gray hair quickly because they are the ones doing the work. For over 500 members of Parliament. That's why, for me, I am telling you, Simon, the ideologues of the People Power movement cannot explain to me that anything to do with the tickets were awarded at the altar of people power. It was definitely vetting power, and you are generating what we call the sociopathic egomaniacs in terms of leaders, manipulative procedures, generating. Now, social media warlords are going to be erecting a protective wall against anybody that disputes the outcomes.
Do you really find it necessary that the country should be sucked into an awkward process of a political party?
Our national constitution and you have not been elected. Just keep quiet, Semuji. You have no local standard in this matter. You can't argue about internal democracy when you are appointed as a clan.
As a clan?
Yeah, you met as a clan and you got appointed.
Or anointed.
Appointed, anointed, this can pass. But our constitution says political parties should be democratic in their internal workings. It leaves the respective parties the details of that, what amounts to a democratic practice internally. I don't begrudge NUP for choosing the vetting they have chosen. There are many jurisdictions in the world where political party management and selection of candidates is left to a small group. One immediate one is South Africa, where the party top, you don't even vote for members of parliament, you vote for the party, and it's the party now that chooses Semuju to represent Munanda and Ofono to go and represent Kabanda. And they deem that democratic. So I want to leave that to the new membership.
Their uniqueness.
That uniqueness. I persuaded to agree with Flavia here that if you're a candidate, you're a member of that party, the onus is on you to familiarize yourself with the internal process that you are going to subject yourself to. Now, once you accept and subject yourself, you apply, you choose a constituency, you go before 3, 4, 5 people to give you examination and in solitude, and then you come out and you wait what their decision is. You should live by that decision. Conversely, we have had the NRM one, which appears very open. We have a register, everybody knows that in this constituency, there are 30,000 registered members of NRM. We gazette the days for elections and campaigns. But still people dispute. Even when they see physical human beings have stood behind it, they still dispute. So I think it has got something to do with the psyche, the political psyche in Uganda today, where however good the process is, there will always be bad losers who don't accept the outcome.
Okay, what is very astonishing is
no.
Historicals are being dumped.
No, historicals. Historicals sometimes have this sense of ownership, sense of entitlement, sense of importance. I think sometimes we suffer from that. In NRM, we have suffered. I'm sure recently you heard somebody say, you just came yesterday. But the principle of NRM itself says, as long as somebody comes in the morning and says, I'm NRM, we accept that person as NRM. That's the principle of NRM. Now, if you are the historical, who wrote those rules? It is disingenuous of you to come now and say, no, you just came in the morning, how can you? And you remember, this didn't start yesterday. You remember, I was called a creeper. I was called a creeper in 2001, 2002. We had a serious contestation with the historicals. The historicals who had fallen by the way. And when we tried to say, no, this is the principle of NRM, They would then say, but you, Fono, you just came yesterday, how can you challenge us? Being historical does not mean that you are the only one who is imbued with the principle of the party, or even being genuine.
Is the fuss about EMC necessary?
Yeah, you might have been historical because circumstances found you. If Ofono was old, and NRM walked into town and was the one there, Ofono will be first before Semuju. Ofono will be first before younger people. So Ofono cannot say that just because of historical, therefore, whatever he says is right. So I think there's that element. I see it is in NRM, it is in FDC, and you have seen how they have destroyed the FDC.
Who has destroyed FDC?
It is now emerging.
NRM was destroyed FDC.
In NUP. If Dr. Semboga here, Roy, were the historicals, the Segonars were the historicals, they knew 5 years ago that they would have another election in 2025. Therefore, they have had the opportunity to move amendment to say, let us, since we have tried selection by vetting or by a small group, they have even had by-elections along the way. They should have come 6 months ago and said, look, party leaders, let us adjust the way we select people to make it more inclusive.
So they made their bed.
They should. And this complaint should not be for this election. They should now use this, in my view, to tighten the rules. If they think the vetting team does not have sufficient
Honorable Semuju, we are getting into break.
The rules.
We are getting into break, but I'll allow you a couple of minutes, then we'll get back. Shed for us the bigger picture of what the current standoff in the National Interplatform and the outcome of the process speaks to the politics of the day.
I think one of the things that I am uncomfortable with, probably Fono Pondo hinted on it. I told my brother Mpoga when they had the issues there. They had assembled a group of young people who were insulting everybody. When it was his turn to be insulted, I was celebrating. Because when they are insulting others, he did not stop them. They were insulting everybody. He was quiet there. So when they insulted him, I celebrated and I said, now,
it's your turn.
And I'm not saying this in bad faith. Me, Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, I cannot go and appear before a councillor. John Mary said, to vet me to be an MP. I can. What does he know about Parliament? That me, I go and appear before a councillor. I cannot. But I respect those who subordinate and offer themselves. Those things I don't do. I cannot. I remember one time in Parliament, when Oranya was changing the rules, if you are suspended, the rules of Parliament say you can return after 3 sittings. When I returned, Oranya said you must go at the bar and apologize. And I said I will not. He brought policemen. The second was the vice president. He pleaded with me. And I told the second, please, they can kill me, but I want the rules followed. So all of you guys, you never give it. Yourself, you're not just an ordinary MP. From your experience, you should be the one interviewing. But you're going to appear before councillors to interview about a parliamentary seat.
I will make a response to that.
Me, I can.
That's an informal interview.
And
the
I'm
reason
going to
they
make
vote
a
for you
response
is
to
because they
his.
can't do that work. So, to me, I cannot subject myself to an interview. I cannot be interviewed by councillors about parliament. That's one. But most important for me, and I can understand when Ofono begins pleading for these processes, I am more interested in the outcome. I just imagine a day when us, the opposition, have taken over government. Because I want to compare people who have been given the opportunity to contest and those they have left out. But let me, before I do that, in Tanzania, Chadema is now banned. I visited Chadema, a couple of us opposition MPs. In Tanzania, you get the percentage of women MPs, the same percentage that you got in presidential elections. The women MPs told us there is no opportunity in CCM because they don't have an established procedure. So they end up bringing their mistresses through their processes. And they said in Chadema, their processes, they are known by everybody, that time before it was banned. If you are a professor, 3 points. If you have been in the party for